If you got a sheet of paper out and you started making a list of motorcycles that you would like to commute on, I imagine that that list is not gonna have a lot of motorcycles that you would also like to take to a track day. Today, I want to find out if I can take a motorcycle that is purpose-built to be at the track, be in the mountains, and ride curvy roads. Can you actually commute on that, and is it enjoyable? Today, I'm gonna be testing out the 2026 Aprilia Tuono 660 factory to see if it's a good commuter motorcycle. As you guys know, this is our giveaway bike for OntwoGarage.com. So if I'm gonna give this bike away, I need to let the person that's gonna win it know, can you commute on it? Now, to find this out, I have devised a plan that I think will be comprehensive in letting us know if you can commute on this motorcycle. Now, I live about 15 minutes outside of downtown Atlanta, huge city. I know there's a Starbucks on the outskirts of 285. 285 is this giant, terrible, dangerous highway that circles Atlanta. I'm going to ride to 285, and instead of going to Starbucks, I'm gonna accidentally go left and have to ride the entire way around Atlanta, the big circle, to then get a Starbucks and get a coffee and find out if you can commute on this thing. Welcome to OntwoGarage. Also guys, for this video, check it out. We got new OntwoGarage hoodies, and this one's special. Super comfortable. We got the hoodie in. I've been working on this design for a minute now, and how freaking sick is that? I absolutely love it. Absolutely. As you can see, it's this motorcycle here, this here. Anyway, I really like this design. It's available at OntwoGarage.com. Now guys, normally on the shop, you get the exact amount of entries as something costs. So if you're gonna buy a $33 shirt, you get 33 entries from that. But in the first week that we are launching this, it's launching in this video on this date. So during that first week, I'm gonna be offering 3 times entries on this hoodie and the shirt option that we have as well. So if you guys grab them in that first week, you will get 3 times as many entries as you normally would. Thank you guys for supporting the show. Let's get to finding out if we can commute on a Tuono. Now guys, the first thing we're gonna have to solve for is storage. As you can see, underneath the seat of the Tuono is very race bikey. There is absolutely no space for anything here. So that does mean we're gonna have to add some luggage. Luckily, I have this tail bag that I've had for a while from SW Motec. It's universal and can go on almost any motorcycle, and it fits perfectly on the back of the Tuono. That way, if you needed something like to take gym clothes or books, you wanted to take a lunch to work, maybe a change of clothes, you can fit anything inside of this bag. For me, I'm gonna be taking all of my film equipment. That way I don't have to have it on my back. I love this tail bag. I use it on all sorts of motorcycles, and it works for this bike, so we're gonna be using it today.
Alrighty guys, we've got the beast out in the world. It's hilarious that it's been a couple weeks since I rode the Tuono, and once I got that suspension adjusted, bro, this bike sits so high up that it's so weird to be so high up on a bike that's so relatively small. Now, on the way to our starting location, I will note that there's some pros and cons to the bag on the back. One, I've got it totally loaded full of camera gear. So it almost acts as a backrest, which I imagine later in the video might turn out to be pretty nice. But one of the other things it does is press me forward, so I'm actually in a slightly more aggressive body position than I otherwise would be. Just kind of an interesting note, not really a pro or a con yet, we'll find out later in the video. As you guys can see, getting the entrance to the motorcycle is now a lot smaller. You can't just swing a leg over. So getting on the bike now, I have to do the whole ADV thing, which is kind of interesting. So I'm just noting things right now. We're not, we're not in the official review yet. I haven't put enough miles on it yet, but I think this is going to be a very interesting day. So without further ado, I'm going to get on the bike and we're going to head on the longest Starbucks run that I could possibly come up with. Because, I work out of my house, so I can't really commute anywhere. So this is the best I could come up with. Well, let's get on the bike and let's get this thing started. Tall suspension, narrow opening. Let's do this thing. There we go. We got it. I just thought about the fact that one of the other things that's going to be interesting is I have this suspension tuned for track riding. I do not have it tuned for street riding, so it's going to be a lot more aggressive suspension settings than I think somebody would want on this thing if they did buy this to commute. So this is going to be interesting. Also, guys, I've got a decent amount of gas. We're going to run through an entire gas tank today. I will not end until we do, so that we can get a fuel economy test as well. All part of the commuter test videos. Oh my God, I missed this bike. Holy crap. Now, as you guys know, the Tuono is stacked with rider aids. Aprilia gave this thing the whole suite, and one of those things that I will be making sure to use today is the commuter power mode setting. That way I'm not in full power mode, I'm in the more casual mode, which is kind of where you want to be for commuting, right? It's early in the day, you got dumb traffic, people trying to wake up. You also are later in the day, after everybody's off work, you want to be careful. So we are in the commuter power mode. The first major thing I have to note on this is lately a lot of the bikes I've been riding have just been kind of average, like whatever. And it's been a minute since I've been on a really nice, really well-tuned bike. And my God, dude, you don't really realize to appreciate stuff like that until you've been on some normal bikes. And the bikes I've been on have had no problems. But just having a bike that's tuned and the power delivery is so good, the controls are so nice and accurate. It is so much different being on a bike like this versus your average everyday bike. I have missed this. That crisp quick shifter, the throttle and the control that the throttle has. There's just so many little details that you don't even know to appreciate until you're out here riding it and you're like, oh shit, that's right, dude, I love that stuff. All right, enough city riding. City riding, it's gonna be the most thrilling city riding you do on a bike like this. So whenever if your commute is like a lot of highway and you get to the city, that is going to by far be the most exciting part of your day. This bike is just so agile and so fun that it's gonna be best then. Now we're getting on the highway, and now's where things are gonna really start testing. It's only a 660, so it's not the biggest engine. I'm curious now to find out about wind protection and the power and, you know, all the normal stuff you need. It's a mid-size naked, you know what I mean? This is not an environment it should excel at. So this should be the interesting part of the test. So one of the things I have to note right now that's really interesting, we're going, you know, mid-70s, 80 miles an hour, and I have a decent amount of wind on me, but because of that bag acting like a backrest, the wind's not affecting me nearly as much as I expected it to. Maybe it's because of the added support that bag is offering or something like that, but that's strange. I would have not expected that. Now, talk to me in a couple hours when I get all the way around 285, and we'll go from there. Also, I am just now realizing I did forget to put mirrors on this motorcycle, so that is going to make today a little more interesting. Something I'll note while I'm kind of just going in this slow traffic, I've got the suspension dialed on this bike. It wants to easily just go from side to side, which it kind of makes it feel a little twitchy when I'm not got any speed behind me. Like right now, the bike just wants to like fall. Like, you see how easy that is? So it's almost a con right now. You know, a bigger bike just kind of wallowing and chilling might almost be nicer in a situation like this. The Tuono just wants to get ridden. All right, so we're going to be getting on 285 East, which is the dumbest situation ever, because If I got on 285 West, I would literally be one exit away from the Starbucks that we're going to. So this is the point in the video where it's like, no, you are going to do something dumb? Awesome. Sweet. Yep. Yeah, the suspension is already getting interesting. I can feel every single nook and cranny on the road. On a racetrack, fantastic. On the Atlanta 285 highway, might not be the best idea. Alright, so we're chilling on the highway. If I hold the left button here, that'll bring up the cruise control. I can hit it one more time and set it. And now we're chilling as we run into an 18-wheeler. I was kind of worried about the seat being a little harder, but bro, I'm so pressed into the cockpit of this motorcycle that there's not a ton of weight that makes it all the way down to the seat. All right, let's try re-engaging that cruise control. All right, we're on game time now. You know what, dude? This might not be half bad. I've got my little cockpit situation. I will say there's a little bit more vibration in the bike than I'd really like there to be. I'm in 6th gear going 76. The bike's a little vibrating. I don't know if that's the smaller engine going at a higher RPM or what, but it's not annoying yet, but it's definitely there, if you know what I mean. Oh, that's one of the downfalls. I don't have really enough space to comfortably tuck in, because I normally to tuck in I'd have to sit back. So I'm stuck in the wind for this ride. that's about as tucked in as I can go, which is clearly not doing anything. Also, I will note I have a larger windscreen installed on this motorcycle as well. I wouldn't call it a touring windscreen, but it's definitely taller than the stock one, and in race trim it does help a lot because you can tuck all the way in and get behind it. Cannot do that in this situation though. God, the air around a semi sucks. Holy crap. There's already a good bit of wind, but dude, when you come up to one of those semis, you have all that dirty air flowing off of them. Holy crap. You better hold on, brother. So far, guys, this cruise control has been fantastic. I don't love that you have to hold an arrow to get to it, but once you get it engaged, you can arrow up and down to speed up and slow down. It's pretty solid and comes in absolutely clutch for commuting. Oh no, stop traffic? Oh, that's not good. Bro, how is it stop traffic? It is literally 1:43 on a Wednesday. What? Look at that! Oh my god. Today is gonna be more interesting than I thought. Oh, it stopped forever, bro. Oh no. Oh, this is not good. This is not what I planned on. I think I can comfortably say this style traffic is the worst that the Tuono's in, and it wasn't as bad before I got the suspension done, but bro, this thing's on a knife's edge. Like, if I slightly lean to the right, the bike just wants to lean all the way over. So I guess it's not really a critique on the Tuono, but more like your suspension, and this is when you tune the motorcycle for what you're wanting to do. This is why you don't commute on a race spec bike. While we're kind of stuck in traffic, we can talk about pillion riders on the Tuono as well. You'll note that the Tuono does have a passenger seat, but just a little note on that. On my Tuono, I've got the SC Project exhaust on it. And when you install that SC Project, it actually removes your passenger foot peg on the right side. So that's something to keep in mind if you are grabbing this motorcycle for more, we'll call it casual riding. You might need to look into a different exhaust that mounts up a different way, or you'd have to, you know, customize the SC Project exhaust, but I don't think anybody would really want to do that. So just keep that in mind when you're upgrading this bike. You don't want to, if you are one of those people that has like a a person that rides with you quite often, you're gonna have to be very particular about what mods you get for the bike. Ran into stopped traffic, and now we are through the stopped traffic and saw nothing that would have stopped traffic. Why does that always happen? Do you guys have that same thing happen? Like, you get in stopped traffic and naturally you're sitting here wondering, okay, cool, what stopped the traffic? And then just suddenly traffic's just moving and flowing. And you're like, wait, what happened? What went down? It's so confusing when that happens. You know, guys, something I'm finding really interesting about the comfort on the bike right now, when I first got like on the bike and I was thinking through this video, I was thinking that the lower half of my body is really like perched up. My legs are bent pretty seriously, and that's awesome for track riding, but I was like, that's probably gonna be a downfall for the comfort of this video, but it's actually working in my favor. My legs being perched up are almost acting as springs, and I think that's making my butt more comfortable. We've only been out for like an hour now, but I'm super comfortable right now. And I'm wondering if that's because my legs are perched up like that. Either way, it's working in my favor, so I'm here for it. I really didn't expect to be feeling that on this test. I gotta admit, we've been out for, I don't know, hour and a half, something like that, and even with an SC Project exhaust, which is a very loud exhaust, the motorcycle, this Tuono just has sounded great. I got some music playing. The exhaust is really subtle when you're just kind of on commute status, you're just chilling, but it's really chill. It's not that big of a deal, and it's not like destroying my ears. I cannot get over how cool that is. Oh my goodness. I was kind of worried that my ears would be bleeding by the time I got done with this video. And I've got earplugs in, of course, but it's been very chill. I'm kind of surprised by that. I love the way the bike sounds when you're really revving on it. You know what I mean? But when you're just kind of relaxed mode, it's really nice. All right, guys, we're coming up on the 2-hour mark, and honestly, bro, so far so good. Legs are feeling good, back's feeling good. I've really got no complaints right now on a middleweight naked race bike. All right, officially getting off the highway. We're gonna hit a gas station. We're gonna get my 2-hour Starbucks, and then we gotta do a fuel economy run. I mean, does it have any wind resistance? Meh, not really. But was that entirely enjoyable? Yeah. Yeah, that was fun. I'm not upset about that at all. Alright, let's see how much gas we can get in. We got 2 clicks left. Let's get her filled up. No way. I only got 2.3 gallons in there. Alright, trip B has been reset. That way when we do the gas run, we'll be able to test it. So that's 2.3 gallons on the dot. Trip B is what we're going to be looking at. Alright guys, I've got the gas. I made my Starbucks order. It's like right down the road. So we're gonna go get this precious coffee that I've commuted 2 hours fully around Atlanta to get, and then after the coffee, we'll do the gas economy test with a fun ride through the actual city of Atlanta. That one will be pretty neat. It will come back to this quick trip, so we'll figure all that out after the coffee and after I get to warm up for a second. Order in progress, hell yes. Did I order a little extra something to make it worth going to? Yes I did. Am I counting the calories of those 330 of the cheese Danish? Also, yes I did. This better be the best Starbucks I've ever had. I don't think I've ever driven this long to get a Starbucks. You know what? I'm actually going to park on the other area and not use up one of those tight parking spots. So fun fact, Heather and I used to live in this apartment complex. We had a little townhouse over there, so I'm familiar with where the Starbucks was. That's how I came up with the idea of coming to here. Because I was like, that'll be a fun video. Drive or ride way too far to get a Starbucks, but you know, we're all here for the ride. All right, I'm going to go in and grab the stuff whenever it's ready, and then we can powwow on how the bike's been so far while I have a coffee in a Danish. How freaking fancy am I? You guys didn't even realize what you were getting into when you clicked into this video.
This seems like as good of a location as any to have a coffee in a Danish. Hold on. I made some notes for myself on making sure I hit on all the topics that I think would be interesting for this video. So let me pull them up and I'll basically answer my own questions. Okay, luggage and storage options. So far, the SW Motec tail bag is really nice. I did notice that SW Motec makes their normal like tank bags for this, but I was gonna grab one, but I ended up not doing that, mostly because I forgot. But after riding on the highway, if I was gonna be riding on the highway with this bike, I think I would go with the tail bag and not the tank bag, because the tank bag I wouldn't be able to bend down any. And I like the tail bag kind of being out of my way. So that was kind of cool. That's what I would go with. Obviously, other mounting stuff, you got the quad lock on there, holding my phone. Okay, comfort. Yeah, so I was on the road for probably 2 hours, 15 minutes. We're gonna go out here more in a minute. But so far, I'm 100% good. My back's not hurting, my legs aren't hurting. I really think that because your legs are in this like little sporty position here, it kind of almost springs your butt so you don't have so much weight on the ground on your seat, which is really nice because this is the stock seat. It's thin, it's not like a comfort seat or anything like that, so that's worked out really well. Wind protection on the highway is rough. Even with the extended screen, you're still going to get blown around a lot, but that rear tail bag actually helped out. So if I didn't have the tail bag on, I'd be able to lay against the tank, I think. So that would help me better, but I don't want to be touring or commuting laying down. You know what I mean? So I kind of prefer this setup. I put heat management on here, but honestly, we're in the 40s today, and I haven't noticed any adverse heat situation so far. And I don't really remember commenting on that in previous videos, so I think the Tuono just does a pretty decent job of heat management. Cruise control, very cool. The only thing I don't like about the cruise control is it's a little wonky. I never like having to press and hold a button to activate something. I'm just not a fan of that. Kawasaki does that a lot too. I don't really like that. I wish there was just a button, but I kind of get it. I'm just thankful cruise control's on this bike and works well. I did notice when I set cruise control one time, it almost sped up a little bit, which is a little weird, but it only happened like once or twice. It wasn't a big deal or anything, but it definitely happened. All right, so practicality wise, low speed stability is not really there. Like I told you guys, this thing's on a knife's edge, so it just wants to go one way or the other at low speed. At higher speed, the bike's stabilized, you know, and it's fantastic. But the slow traffic barely moving, and that is all because of the suspension I have, not because of the motorcycle itself. Throttle delivery is really nice. I was in the commuter mode, and this bike's got a ton of power. It's a parallel twin. It's got a lot of punchy power down low, but even in like stop and go traffic, the finesse of the throttle is really nice. You get a really nice feel, and it's very smooth delivery. You can make it really aggressive if you're super aggressive, but generally it feels fantastic. Passing power on the highway is definitely there. You're never really going to be going speeds on the city streets where the Tuono's not going to have enough power to do what you got to do. It's only on track, a bigger track, where you start getting to the point where on a long straight, you really start peaking out the power that the bike has, and you're just sitting there like waiting for power. I never really got to that point here, either on the street or on the highway. I mean, it's a 660, you know, it gives you the power you would expect plus a little bit. But I never ran into a situation where I wish I had more power. Comfort-wise, the vibrations were there, mostly in my foot pegs. That's where I noticed the vibrations the most, but I think I mentioned that at some point earlier in the day, but kind of just forgot about it. I didn't really care. It wasn't as bad or annoying to me as I would have expected it to be. Overall, after spending 2 hours, and I've got another hour and something I'm about to spend on it, I think this thing can totally do longer rides. I'm really interested in what the fuel economy is. The gas tank just seems tiny. I had 2 of 5 clicks left in the gas tank, and I can only put 2.3 gallons in. So if I remember correctly, I guess it's a 4 or a 5. It has to be a 4-gallon gas tank. Ain't no way it's a 5. Okay, so the things we have coming up. Chase eats a cheese Danish. Then I will say at the end of it, after we do the fuel economy test, if it can tour or not. So shut up. So I'm gonna eat a cheese Danish, and then I'm gonna get back on this thing. It's a beautiful day.
Alrighty guys, so we're gonna get back on the bike and we are gonna do the fuel economy test. I'm gonna start from where I am here on 280, right off 285. I'm going to go up through Atlanta and back. I'm basically going to make a giant, what is that, D? Backwards D. And we're going to end up back at that QT. And with that information and my trip counter, my key is not in the motorcycle. Oh, Chase. Nope, that's not it either. I didn't. Oh, I have it. Okay. I was about to say, today's video is going to get a lot more interesting. Okay. Alright, let's go figure out what the fuel economy is for the highway on the Tuono. There she is, guys, full tank. We are 1 mile from that QT that we went to earlier. We're going to do this thing, and I'm going to listen to a lot of music. Damn, that took way longer than I thought it would. Am I even still recording? Oh my god, I am. Holy shit, this Action 6 battery lasts forever. Okay, let's find out how much gas I can handle. Guys, it just took me 2 hours and 15 minutes to go 67.4 miles. My God, my life. Alrighty guys, that last part of that ride was horrendous, my God. But it was probably 85 to 90% highway, a little bit of backwards to get back to this gas station. And our MPG was 60.06, and it was probably half stop and go traffic, half highway speed. So 60.06 on the race bike. Okay, I need to wrap this video up because obviously it is way later than I expected it to be. My God, that last stint was rough. I'm going to give the Aprilia Tuono 660 factory a 7.5 out of 10 on my commuter scale. I wish it had more wind protection, so I guess I could get a bigger windscreen. And then I wish it had a softer suspension that would make it fall to the side less. That kind of got annoying in stop and go traffic. Overall though, for this thing being a race bike, I think this thing performed incredibly well. Would happily commute on this thing if I had a job and had to commute with it. Alright guys, I'm exhausted. I'm gonna get out of here. Make sure to grab a hoodie or a t-shirt of that new design if you want bonus chances to win this motorcycle. I'm gonna go somewhere and drink something warm and warm up. I'll see you guys on the next one. Later.